What is your actual name, Mounir?
I like bench. It's nice. It's Benchemled, but you can say bench as well.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm super excited to have a fireside chat today with Mounir, the founder of Paraswap. I'm particularly excited because I think Paraswap started during one hackathon. So I wanted to have your perspective, Mounir, on how you started Paraswap and what was the sort of journey that you went on until now.
Yeah, we started in 2019. The idea actually came in late 2018. Back in late 2018, it was in the middle of the bear markets, where everyone is thinking that crypto is maybe dying, and the DeFi movement was barely starting. So this is the same time when Uniswap has came in and when Kyber Networks has launched, and it was going in a direction where it became clear that the future is decentralized exchanges. So the first idea was to build a UI aggregator that's like a decentralized version of a Coinbase that anyone can use this, and that will aggregate multiple DEXs like Uniswap, Kyber, Bancor at the time, which didn't really work. It was too early for that time for the retail to use DEXs. Today it seems very normal, but in the summer 2019, you have to explain what's a DEX before explaining your products, which is not the case today. Which led me to pivot into a product for the DeFi niche, which was a Telegram group of 3,000 people at the time, but super engaged and super passionate, and the rest is history with the evolvement that we've seen for the last 2 years and a half.
I'm sure a lot of people in the audience use Paraswap, but for those who are less acquainted with it, could you tell us where you are now, going from a Telegram group to the new products that you're rolling out?
Yeah, well, in simple terms, it's a DEX aggregator, or how I would like to describe it is a middleware that connects liquidity from major trading venues. So today we are talking about DEXs and DeFi tokens and meme tokens, but tomorrow it can be anything that can be tokenized. So from stocks and bonds and real estate and anything like that that can be traded on chain. So Paraswap is the best execution platform, and that's something that exists already in traditional markets, and we're bringing that to DeFi or to on-chain settlements.
And so what is unique about Paraswap?
Yeah, so we see it now as an ecosystem. So what we're trying to build is a platform that other developers can build on top of. And what we do is we try to always to bootstrap new use cases. The first obvious one was just building a UI that allows trading from A to B. But other use cases emerge. Like in Aave, we can trade APYs. You can swap an APY or an asset that generates a X% APY to an asset that generates a Y% that is higher than the first one. It can be NFT trading, where, for instance, in a super rare or in a OpenSea, I want to buy an NFT that is denominated in ETH, but I have DAI, and I can use Paraswap in order to go from DAI to ETH and buy the NFT on the fly. It can be for institutions that want to trade either DeFi tokens or like ERC20 tokens or any other STO tokens or real estate tokenized tokens using a immediate settlements platform like Paraswap. That's also a use case. So that's what we're trying to build. It's not just a UI with a DEX aggregator, but it's a platform that can have multiple use cases. And the value proposition is this best execution platform.
And in terms of, you said institutions want to use DEXs. It seems to me it's really hard for them. I know that Aave came with, Aave Arc, and MetaMask is rolling out MetaMask Institutional. What has been the reaction, and how do you work with institutions around your products?
Yeah, we're running already some pilots with some banks and hedge funds who are either on TradeFi or on CeFi and want to get exposure to DeFi. And the main motivations, well, actually there are two motivations. One is earning yield on DeFi. They see that there are some very interesting yield, especially on stablecoins or in Bitcoin or ETH, and they don't have access to that yield, or they have to go through intermediaries, which comes with the high fees. So it's not really economically interesting for them. And also for trading, they have to go through OTC desks in general, or to be big exchanges, which has issues with settlements, I would say delays, and the prices, of course. So Paraswap, also its value proposition for trading is delivering a price that is better than the markets by using these aggregation algorithms. So our prices are very attractive to these guys. And just our prices using what you call Paraswap Pool, which is a set of market makers, or you can see it as a network of OTC traders. So they get the same service except that it's using multiple OTC desks and aggregating multiple OTC desks and delivering a price that is better than the sum of those all OTC traders. So that's a big value proposition, and they don't have to trade on Uniswap. They don't have to use the public version. They will have to use a version that filters on those OTC traders. So they are getting a good price. They are also getting I would say, a platform that is compliant between codes. So those are traders. So those are also companies that can be KYC, the AML. So they are using us as if they were using an OTC desk, except that they're getting a good price. And the hope is that in the future, they will have a way to use decentralized exchanges. I don't see this happening like tomorrow, but we see some very good signs of them being open to trade on decentralized exchanges, like in pure DeFi. I can get into the details on how this can work, but yeah, that's the hope. It's like a drug pill to get them on board and use a decentralized exchange aggregator, and the hope is to use DeFi in the future.
So what is the major hurdle? Is it KYC AML, and how do you address that?
Yeah, I would say that's the main issue. Is always the legal parts that's blocking, because sometimes I think it's psychological, because when you use Bitcoin and if you're transferring a Bitcoin or a ETH, you don't KYC at all. I mean, you don't KYC the miners. So I think, and we can map that to decentralized exchanges, because we're not trading with a counterparty. We're trading against a smart contract or against an algorithm. So in my opinion, there is little differences in a legal point of view. I'm not really legal experts, but intuitively that's what I think. But to answer your question, yes, this is what's holding them back from going to DEXs, and why we need them. But well, we need also the capital that they have in place, and we're talking about trillions of dollars.
Do you think then that will trump the current trading with crypto native individuals at some point? Like, what will it take for it to become like larger than what is currently being traded?
Yeah, well, I think we should have them on board first, and once they get in, once they understand the system, because I think there is still also some education work to be done, and that I think will be just the first step, and the rest will take care of itself, because they will understand the system and they will see the benefits, and that's what we can see at least on Aave Arc, where they started looking into permission pools, but now our discussions with them, we started discussions about how about getting on a pool from Aave, but maybe 90% of this pool was supplied by some known institutions that we can recognize them from their addresses, and that's opened the door to two more things to happen in the future.
So I'm excited that you're saying we're swapping NFTs. What does that mean? Could you expand a little bit more on this feature? Because I think everyone is pretty excited about the capabilities in the future to have more financialization of NFTs and create liquid markets. And I think that could be a big contribution to that.
Yeah, so NFT swaps can be, there are multiple types of swaps. So there are swaps we can see in the native marketplaces like an OpenSea or Rarible and others. So we're not in that business. We're in the business of execution and best execution. So we can bring upgrades to the experience that these users have. For instance, the example I was citing in the beginning in OpenSea or any other marketplace where I want to buy an NFT that it's denominated in ETH, and I don't have ETH, so I have to buy ETH and then put my buy order. Well, I can use Paraswap. I can either do a market buy if it's possible, or I can do the limit order where this is going to be possible in the future, and I can pay with any token that I have in position. We have some thoughts, some very early stage thoughts on how we can automatically price an NFT, that it's not maybe a very sophisticated artwork where the pricing is, I would say, subjective, but for like a Bored Ape where maybe it's more about the features of that character. We have some ideas of bringing some algorithms that can maybe add some pricing suggestions at least to the artist.
And in terms of Paraswap, the protocol, are we anticipating a new version? Like, how are you managing currently the governance and the new features and upgrades?
Yeah, so the DAO is super active. By the way, we launched the DAO 3 months ago, and the forum is super busy. I have hard time following up, so I have to look there every day and make sure I follow everything that's happening. So the community took over a lot of things, and the most recent one is gas refunds. They're super special because it's about having an auto-compounding asset that's also providing this free usage of the platform. So that's super cool. And then there are a lot of things that are upcoming, some with NFTs for swap, some NFTs for gas refunds for institutions. And also the idea is to maximize on building this platform, is to stop building, I would say, end user features and focus more on building platforms so that other developers can build on top of. So that's the direction we try to take, is to be more of a developer platform instead of an end user platform.
And I remember that you made a very deliberate choice in terms of your launch and the launch of the DAO, which created a lot of emotion in the community. Could you sort of take us through the journey on why you made those choices and why the community made those choices, and how is that a little bit different than the previous models that we see, and why did you think that was like a great model for Paraswap?
Yeah, so unfortunately there is no standard on how to launch a DAO. Nowadays there are a lot of experiments, and some work very well, some work less well. And ours, I would say, we learned a lot of lessons. Unfortunately, we cannot do a second launch. It's already done. We can launch the DAO only once. But yeah, I would say the DeFi community, or the crypto, is maturing, is growing a lot, and there is nothing, I would say, concrete where we can, or like a playbook that you can follow and have a successful formula. I mean, it doesn't work in startups in general. So the choice we've made is to make an airdrop for users. That wasn't, I mean, super optimized, at the least I can say, but it allowed us to launch the DAO and have a super engaged community, and that we can see on a daily basis. So I would say lessons learned is maybe to do models where we will consult the community before launching, and I think that works a lot, because even though we can have the impression that we are giving away maybe too much, and that can be dangerous, and that we've seen that before, but at least it can add another social filter to whatever airdrop or whatever incentive models we're doing, and that we can learn a lot from what we're doing right now, from liquidity mining programs and other kinds of incentives, where the community always has a double eye and a second opinion, and we always adjust what we're doing. So I think if we were to come back, we will do that, and we will not just launch, we will consult the community and see the opinions, and from that we will do a proper launch, hopefully. But yeah,
Great.
that's the past.
So now that you're contributing to the DAO and the community and keeping a watch on daily governance proposals, what would you say is the biggest challenge that you went through as a founder? When you started working with a small team, a very focused small team of devs, and now expanding to the community. What has been the lessons learned, or recommendations for people in the room that you could give?
I would say the biggest challenge is forming a solid team, so around hiring, and that's, I would say, the biggest challenge I was confronted to, is how to make sure we hire the best talents, and how to make sure also to make sure this talent will stay and will be happy and will be always incentivized and also intellectually stimulated. That was the biggest challenge that we spent, and the choice we have made is to keep a small team, not a big team, but very solid ones, and also very, I would say, I don't know, for lack of a better word, like very selective interviews, but that have worked so far very well. I mean, the team is very, very good, and the quality of the deliverables are super high. Now we have another challenge with the DAO, we haven't started yet, is to have other teams working directly for the DAO and not for us, that can have their accountability to the DAO, knowing that our accountability is to the DAO, but we would love to have other teams who work directly for the DAO, and this can be developers, marketers, product designers, and so on. So that's the early stage of a new adventure that is in discussion with the DAO.
And are you thinking, are there discussions around ecosystem funds or grants, et cetera? Like what's your strategy there?
Yeah, so some contributors propose to have a yearly budget, and that includes multiple segments. One of them is for grants, for other projects to build on Paraswap, and other for contributors. And that would include these future teams that will work for the DAO. And we don't have yet a formula. We're looking into other projects like MakerDAO, for instance, which in some like Lido, which have a process that looks like a company. So they have a hiring processes, they have teams, team meetings, and so on. So that's something in the work. And also for the grants, that's something we're super excited about on how to incentivize other teams to build on Paraswap. And what we're thinking about as well is we've seen many projects that will fund with the native token, which can be cool. But I think what people look for is maybe stablecoins and ETH. So we're looking for solutions on how we can diversify the treasury in order to make those kind of grants and even paying for contributors much more efficient.